Everybody. Wednesday, August the 12th. This is a macro overview for the day for understanding sort of where the market sits. Bigger picture. I made a few comments as well today talking about the short-term side of things. What I think that we're seeing, you can see on the screen in front of you pretty clearly is that we're in a period where the market's going up and down, and it may break one way or the other, but it's been pretty flat. You haven't made a lot of headway, which generally is an idea. It's generally a concept that what tends to happen when that occurs is that if the prices are going sideways and they're going up and down, you tend to catch up with what the earnings picture is saying. So for what we're seeing right now, almost all the time when we see you know demand side forces sort of reach a level where they've reached. So meaning basically, even though there's up and down, there's nothing really you know getting out there and driving the market and keeping it sustained in these bull runs. And this is kind of what we see when we have a lot of success on our trading system. So in the chart you're looking at, it's usually when we're above the dividing line, like we have been for basically a good chunk of probably a year and a half, where money has been able to be made by being a little bit more tactically oriented as opposed to just, let's say, buying and holding. You've been able to take advantage of moves up and down. So it's been a pretty strong move so far. So the question is it when is this particular move going to sort of come to fruition? So at this point here, I mean, we're still short, but you can see that we've had a really nice run short term in sort of this cycling type behavior. So if and if we sort of contrast that concept with what we see down in here, and then what we see at this particular period right in here, another example of it, sort of this area right in here as well. And what I'm looking at really is I'm looking at the very thick red line, and the very thick red line actually is kind of the easiest way for people to think of it, and the way I tend to look at it is it's a function of understanding the market in terms of like two forces, where you have supply and demand that obviously make up market dynamic. But the fact of the matter is that you have a whole element that is focused on the demand side, and you have a whole element that's focused on the supply side, and intensities and selling strengths and buying strengths and all that kind of stuff, they all play in. But this is the level to which people really are aggressive and want to buy the market. And conversely, we also have something that kind of highlights the extent to which people really want to sell it. And it's no surprise, both of them are actually kind of coming to the top. But one of two major things is going to happen with this particular event is that you're actually going to see the market either begin into a period of where we're going to see a little bit more cycling activity in terms of, pardon me, less cycling activity in terms of bigger moves that tend to be sustained, and usually that they tend to come on the upside, and then follow up with something that would be on the sell side. So at this particular point, there's nothing really that tells me that the market's going one way or the other. We're going to continue to stay in this chopping type of environment. I mean, short term, it looks to us that we're probably overdue for the market to kind of make about a month to 6 week sort of move in one direction or the other, whether it be to the upside, which if we follow through with all this buying that we had earlier today, and we keep going for the next week or so, that would constitute sort of this thing breaking and moving, and the short trade would turn negative. But I think we're still a long ways away from this some sort of period where things are going to go dramatically be different on the other side. So big picture comments to go along with our portfolio is we're still long the market. We're still our weightings are not necessarily particularly great in terms of what we have, especially in the modeling that's more tactically oriented. It's anywhere from about half to 60% in the market, And we would probably look to reduce that as if we had a week or so of upside, which does potentially look like we are going to see. But again, as I said in my short-term comments, I think that what we're looking at is a whole pile of chop as we get a lot of uncertainty heading into this interest rate activity for September. So, bigger picture, I'm expecting, I'm not looking for the big move one way or other. I'm not looking for the big sell wave to kind of kick in. I'm not looking for the big up wave, but I do think that we're going to trend higher for the next probably 6 weeks. And hopefully we can get to a point where we can kind of reduce our equity position a little bit, and then at that particular point, it'll be an opportunity to buy a dip. So this is S&P comments. We'll update these in a week or so.